So welcome, thank you for joining me. I'm Ashley, and today we're going to go through a muscle activation sequence to get the body moving and ready and engaged for the day. This is a great sequence for getting your body ready for either the day or for a workout that you're getting ready to do. So before we jump in, just a quick rundown of what we will be doing today. We're going to have 6 exercises. We're going to start in the upper part of the body, then we're going to move into our midsection torso area, and then end in a lower portion of the body. The focus of all of the movements today are going to be to engage our muscles and be able to improve that activation so that we're ready to move through our day and any workout or exercise routines that we are jumping into. So today, no equipment's needed, so let's just jump right in and get to it. So first one that we're going to start with is going to be swimmers. So the starting position is going to be laying on our stomach in the prone position, and we are going to have our arms extended up as well as our legs extended backwards, and we are going to be lifting opposite leg and opposite arm. And during the movement, you're going to want to be keeping tension between those 2 points, between your arms and your legs, keeping your back fully engaged. As we go through these exercises, we'll be doing between 8 to 12 reps, or you can do them for between a minute to 3 minutes, kind of depending on how you feel. So let me start with a demonstration on these swimmers. So laying flat on our back with our arms fully extended and our legs fully extended, head facing down so that we don't have any unnecessary movement or disruption in our chains here. And alternate. Up, down, up, down. And we'll move through, like I said, 8 to 12. Alternating back and forth, holding for 2 to 3 seconds. So let's go. Make sure you're keeping that tension between your arms and your legs. Fully engaging your back and getting your muscles activated. Great, once you've gone through alternating around 14 of them, so 18 on both sides, we can get up and then we will move into our hands and knees position. So in this one, we're going to be doing a downward dog basically. So you'll be on your hands and knees, your hands will be about shoulder width apart, and your feet will be a little bit wider probably than hip width distance. We're going to be engaging our core, making sure that we have it interiorly rotated, so that we're trying to keep that flat back. And then we will be lifting up through our hips and pushing our head kind of down in between our shoulders. So to demonstrate this, hands and knees, get into that plank position. And what we don't want to see is this. So we don't want to have this arch in our lower back here. We're going to want to engage our core, so rotating it up and in, making sure we're fully pushing through our hands, engaging our shoulders, interiorly rotate our arms here. So instead of having them, let's move this way, like this, rotate them so that they're facing forward. Your elbows are facing back and keeping them straight and engaged. So down on all fours, back into that plank position, Engage your core, rotate your arms, and then lift up through your hips. Pushing your heels into the floor, hold for a couple seconds, and return to starting. Go through this 8 to 12 times. Engaging your upper back muscles as you push through. Continuing to engage your core as you move through. Pushing your heels towards the ground. Keeping your elbows rotated. So those two exercises focus on our upper portion of our body. Now we're going to move into our midsection. Okay, now as we move down into our midsection, we're going to be laying flat on our backs now. So these are going to be laying pelvic tilts. They may sound simple and easy, but it's a great exercise to really get your back portion and hips and everything fully engaged for any movement that you're going to be doing throughout the day or throughout your workout. So you'll be laying flat on the floor, and what we're going to be doing is pushing our backs into the ground as we maintain connection with the floor with our bottoms, our mid back, our lower back, and our upper back. So most of the time, many of us will have this arch in our back. This is pretty common and nothing to be concerned about, but during our lifestyle and everything, some of us have started to have that become more pronounced. So as we work to make sure that we strengthen all of the muscles to make sure they're working in unison and together, this is a great way to do that. So as you can see, I have this arch in my back, which is fine. We'll have our knees bent about shoulder width apart or so. And I recommend keeping your arms down, but I'll move them up so you can see what I'm doing. So laying on the ground, all we're gonna do is rotate our hips, pulling our pelvis towards the midline of our body, and push our back into the ground. So I'm pushing down, making sure that my butt, my mid back, and even my upper back and shoulders are pushing into the ground as I do this. And then release and continue. Do it between 8 to 12 times, maintaining that tension and pressure. So pushing the whole back of you into the ground as you do this movement. Even engaging your glutes and quads slightly as you go through it, and your hamstrings. Really making sure that everything's connected, talking, working on getting you through these movements. And again, do about 8 to 12 of them, or a minute to 3 minutes. Kind of depends how you're feeling and what you have for time in your day. So once you complete your rounds of those, we can move on to the next exercise. So the next one we're going to do is going to be called thread the needle. So we're going to be on all fours. Again, we're going to want to make sure we're maintaining that flat back. Good solid connection kind of with the floor. And this one we're going to be rotating. So you're going to take, I'll start with this arm over here, my far arm, and you're going to pull it back behind your front arm and bring your shoulder to the ground or as close to the floor as possible. Ideally, we're going to get that shoulder to make contact with the ground, but if that's not something that your range of motion is going to allow, just go down as far as you can. So, as we're in all fours, we take our whichever arm we want to start with and reach behind our opposite, rotating our torso and making that connection as close to the ground as possible, rotating through that midsection. And we're going to alternate sides as we go through this. So maintain that pressure and connection throughout your body and through the ground, and the other side. And push up and alternating. Again, can do the 8 to 12 reps. Really working on getting that rotation in your core. So pulling that arm through behind your front and reaching that shoulder to the ground. And I could feel my stomach trying to sag down, so make sure that's getting engaged as you come to your starting position. And just one more on the other side here. Great. So now on to our next exercise. For this one, we're going to stay on the ground, and these are going to be 90-90s. So what these are is we're going to have our legs at the 90-degree angle, both in the front of us and behind us. So we'll be sitting in this position. I'll do a few different angles as we work through this. But then with your hand, we're going to want to make sure we're upright and stationary. So rotating that, pushing that next to you just to make sure you're keeping that upright torso as we move through this. And then we're going to want to be maintaining the pressure in our knees pushing into the floor along with our ankles in both our front and back legs, keeping that solid connection as well with our bottoms. So your other arm can kind of be wherever's comfortable. I see some people putting them up here, some people putting it off to the side here. I tend to be most comfortable with it kind of off on my other leg here, but find what works best for you. So as we're in this upright and stable position, make sure we're engaging our core so we're good, upright and straight, and then get that pressure into your knees and ankles into the ground. And then we're just going to be leaning forward as far as you can without really giving your back any arching or curving. So lead with your chest, come forward, maintaining good solid pressure in your upright position. This is one of my favorite ones, so I typically do 10 per each side, but depending how it works for you, you can do 8 to 12, or a combination of it, whatever you feel is needed to get you activated and ready for your day. Maintain that pressure. Upright and grounded. This is a great exercise. I feel myself always shaking when I go through it, so I know my muscles are really trying to work and communicate with each other. And once you get through your 8 to 12 on the one side, then we just flip and rotate to the other. So let me do it this way here. So again, we have that 90 degrees in the front, 90 degrees in the back. Your arm on your front bent leg will be beside you, keeping you upright and stationary. Keeping your core engaged so you're upright, your arm where it's comfortable, maintaining that tension and pressure through your knees and ankles as you lean forward, leading with your chest, keeping tension, connection as much as possible, and again, only lean as far forward as your body allows. As we continue to do that, and you progress, you'll be able to get further and further down. I'm just going to rotate over so you can get another view of what it looks like as I'm doing it. Continue doing your reps on the side. The 90, getting that arm down, pushing up, and leading with your chest. Maintaining that good solid pressure in your legs with that connection to the floor. All right. So the next one we're going to do, let's stand up here. You can start at the back of your mat or wherever's comfortable for you. And this one's going to be walking heel hinges. So what we're going to do is, with whichever leg you're most comfortable with starting with, you're going to reach it out slightly, pushing that heel into the ground. And I like to keep my hands up on my hips, and we're going to be hinging from our hips, not our torso only. So maintain that pressure in your front heel, and then you're going to hinge at the hips, pushing your back side backwards. So keeping your chest upright and straight, we're going to hinge. And then alternate to your other foot, keeping a good distance between them so that you're good and stable as you're moving through this. So again, keep your chest upright, your shoulders up, back, and down. And we're going to lead with our chest, keeping our front leg here straight. Can bend the back leg a little bit. Maintain that pressure in the floor. And hinge. Trying to keep that neutral gaze. So face you here quick. So again, out, keeping your shoulders up, back, and down, looking straight ahead as you hinge. Allow your head and gaze to go down with you. And you can walk, or you can do this in place, whatever's kind of convenient or works in the space you're working with. And hinge. keeping that pressure in that front heel and making sure you're leading with your chest. So I'll just do a couple of them this way so you can see it. As we go through it, we'll be alternating sides, so you can do 8 to 12 per side, or whatever your time kind of allows for you. Making sure you're hinging. As we're going through this, we're getting that stretch in the back of our leg here. So again, keep it pushed and hinged. And feeling this really starting to activate in this area back here. Those were our 6 exercises, doing about 8 to 12 of them per side, or a minute to 3 minutes, however kind of works best for you. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me today. And until next time, go and live your best life. Happy, healthy, and strong. Thank you.